Ever wondered what really happened to the Malaysian Airline flight M370 which went missing? What about the passengers on board? Who were they? What were their names? Where they were flying to? So let's hear the details and the encounters of the passenger who were aboard the flight.
14. At the big airport in Kuala Lumpur. The terminal was full of bright lights and the sound of rolling suitcases. A kind man named Philip Wood stood near the gates, ready for a long journey across the deep blue sea. Philip was traveling to the big city of Beijing to see his friends. He checked his bag one more time and thought about the stories he would tell when he arrived. He felt a little spark of excitement in his heart as he waited for his turn to fly. Nearby, a woman named Yan Lin was also waiting. She was heading home and could almost feel the warm hugs of her family already. She held her ticket tightly, making sure she was ready for the flight on the giant silver bird. Yan Lin watched the ground crews moving below. She loved how the airport never seemed to sleep. To her, every journey was a bridge that connected people who lived very far apart. Zheng Lei was also at the airport, and he was very busy. He had a large suitcase that was quite heavy because it was filled with gifts. He wanted to bring a piece of his travels back to the people he loved. Zhang Lei looked at his watch and smiled. He knew that soon he would be high above the clouds, where the world looks like a beautiful map. He was a man who loved to explore and see new things. Rodney Burrows was ready for his trip too. He wore a cozy sweater because he knew the airplane could be a bit chilly. He was a friendly man who always had a kind word for the people he met along the way. Rodney found a quiet spot to sit and relax before the flight. He watched the people passing by and felt happy to be part of such a big, wide world. For Rodney, the best part of traveling was the peace found in the sky. Inside the cockpit of the giant silver airplane, Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah was preparing for work. He was a very wise pilot who had spent many years flying through the clouds. He knew every part of his airplane very well. Zahari checked his flight maps and the weather report. The night was clear and the air was still. He took great pride in his job, making sure that every passenger on his plane would have a safe and comfortable ride. His partner for the night was First Officer Farik Hamid. Farik was a helpful man who loved the magic of flying. He worked quickly and carefully, checking the instruments to make sure the silver bird was ready to soar. Zahari and Farik talked about their plan for the long flight. They were a great team, and they trusted each other to guide the plane through the dark night. Everything was in order, and the engines were ready to hum. Finally, it was time to board the plane. Philip and Yan Lin walked down the long hallway together. They stepped onto the plane and were greeted by the friendly crew. The air inside smelled like adventure and new beginnings. Zhang Lei and Rodney Burrows found their seats and made themselves comfortable. They buckled their seatbelts and listened to the soft sound of the air conditioning. The plane felt like a cozy home that was about to move through the stars. In the cockpit, the clock showed 12:41 a.m. Zahari and Farik worked together to start the engines. With a soft rumble, the silver bird began to move away from the gate and toward the long, straight runway. The plane sped faster and faster down the runway until the wheels left the ground. Farik watched the airport lights grow smaller and smaller as they climbed high into the quiet, dark night. They were finally on their way. High above the clouds, everything was peaceful. Philip Wood looked out his window at the twinkling stars and the moon. He felt very small but very safe inside the giant airplane as it glided through the air. "Good night, Malaysian 370, Zahari said into his radio. His voice was calm and steady. It was time for the plane to fly over the deep ocean, where the water meets the sky in a line that never ends. Suddenly, the little light on the radar screen began to fade away. Zahari and Farik looked at their instruments as the signal became quiet. Over the silent, deep ocean, the silver bird became a mystery that the world is still trying to solve. Though we do not know exactly where the plane went that night, we still remember the people who were on it: Philip, Yanlin, Zhonglei, Rodney, Zahari, and Farik are all kept in our hearts. Their story is like a star that stays in the sky, reminding us to always look up and remember.
Thank you for listening to the story. Stay tuned for more. Don't forget to subscribe and show your support to the channel.